Hello, and welcome to another episode of playing Crusader Kings 3 using the hardest possible rule set, starting as Duchess Matilda of Tuscany in 1066. We are currently playing as Duchess Matilda's grandson, who is the Emperor of Italia. At the end of our last episode, we had to fight 3 defensive wars, the most difficult being against the Scourge-Conqueror of Britannia. And so I am pausing here because, of course, we see that this guy who I promise you can go back and look at the prior episode, he was a Scourge Conqueror. He has now lost the trait. One way Scourge Conquerors can lose that trait is if they lose 3 wars. We know he lost a war against us. Perhaps he lost 2 others or something else happened. Because he lost the war against us, he went deeply into debt. Also possible that played a role in him losing the Scourge Conqueror trait. But in any case, this is good news for us. He's now less of a threat. He's still quite powerful. I mean, he's an exalted warlord with 25,000 troops. Claims their military strength is superior to ours. I don't think that's accurate, but he can still be someone who attacks us and be quite threatening. We also had to defend against the Holy Roman Empire, which we successfully did. You can see that they're also deeply in debt because they had to pay about 6,000 to us when they lost. And then we also, this was a much more decisive war because they were not led by a Scourge Conqueror and our troops performed quite well. We also defeated a duke within the Holy Roman Empire who tried to attack us for this county, Schmalkalden. And so because of winning those defensive wars, we have quite a bit of gold. There's also really a lot of things we want to accomplish here. But the first and arguably always the most important thing you want to look at is your succession. Our succession is a giant mess. We have 4 children. At the moment we also have some elective titles. At the moment we'd be losing titles to our sister through the election, somewhat surprisingly. We'd be left with Florence, and that's about it. So we definitely want to fix that. For our elections, for a long time, when we didn't have any sons, we've been voting for our sister, who's a very excellent character herself. You can see here, a genius, so better than our current character, who's only quick. You can see she has great personality traits, brilliant strategist, but no longer really want her to be our heir. Instead, we're going to be looking at our oldest son here, Prince Falkard of Italia. So we will change all of our elective feudal titles to go to him. For the Holy Roman Empire, we still want ourselves to be the candidate. See that the current Holy Roman Emperor is quite old. It does look like, unfortunately, someone is in front of us. He's about our age, so would be nice if we were elected Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire and take over this vast realm, make us significantly more powerful. We'll just have to see what happens. So even fixing the voting, we get a few more counties, but we're still going to be losing quite a bit. I think the way to fix that, I believe, is we could either put a feudal elective title on the Kingdom of Italy or on the Duchy of Tuscany, where most of our domain is located. I'm pausing to think which is the best here. So if we put it on the Duchy of Tuscany, we should certainly be able to control it. If we put in the Kingdom of Italy, we'll have less control because other vassals could come in and you'll vote for someone else. I think let's start by putting on Italy. We're currently only 33 years old. We're in good health. Hopefully we live for quite a while longer. If this came at war, so it can't do that, so it can't fix our succession at the moment, but whenever we end this war, we'll take care of that. The war we were in is a crusade. I had originally planned on participating in the crusade, the crusade has gone very poorly, which is somewhat surprising because the Crusaders do have triple the numbers of the defenders, but I think Christians performing poorly in crusades is a meme now, so this will just add to it. Not particularly interested in going down there and losing. So also what do we see here? We can vassalize 9 neighbors. So definitely take advantage of that. At least people who are willing to accept at least normal feudal obligations. If they accept high feudal obligations, all the better. Okay. So question here of what we want to do. We do have some archers. We could do that. We could do lancers. We don't currently have any heavy cavalry. Also, contender is quite useful in terms of getting more hostile looter trade experience. We are definitely want to host a grand tournament in the near future. Even Marauder isn't terrible when you're on the attack. I think let's go with contender actually. We can max that out. For a long time there was a different knight occupying that who did not have as good of selections, options for what we could make for him. And so, in terms of activities, our character has never actually been coronated, which caused quite a lot of problems early on. So we can't get coronated at the moment because Hope is busy participating in someone else's coronation. What we can do is look to see how difficult it would be to get an anointment from him. Looks like it will be very difficult. So probably won't bother with that, frankly. I do think, especially since Pope is somewhat young, let's sway him. Maybe we'll eventually get a coronation on better terms. Though at this point, it doesn't matter. See, one of the main issues here is negative 50 opinion for us because he wants the Republic of Ancona and Duchess Spoleto. Those are parts of the anointed kingdom of Romania that he holds. Don't think we're going to give those to him. So our other options here, again with our newfound gold, let's go through and improve our buildings. In particular here, let's build some military academies. See, these give a range of benefits in terms of particularly less army gold maintenance, more knights, greater knight effectiveness, and perhaps most importantly, increasing the size of our men-at-arms regiments. Really, when you're playing at this level of difficulty, this rule set, your men-at-arms are really the backbone of your army. Because we're playing on very hard, knights get a significant reduction of their effectiveness. I think it's negative 50%. Obviously, there are ways to overcome that, but you really want strong men-at-arms instead of just trying to rely on your knights like you potentially could in a regular game. So we'll get more regiments, get more knights, more knight power, all good stuff from that. Here we will go with our best economic buildings. We are currently researching, I believe it's windmills, mostly to get another building slot for all of our domain buildings. We'll use that for build largely barracks and improve the quality of our men-at-arms and their power. So I do want to hold a grand tour, but I think let's start with the grand tournament. Character has a quite good stats overall, good prowess. Don't think we have any good artifacts yet in terms of our weapon and armor, so this would really help. Can't even put on our rather sad crown. Let's repair it just so we have it, so we can get coordinated at some point if that's what we choose to do. Yeah, I think let's host a grand tournament. Oh, one thing I did want to look at here is the development in our lands. We are part of the Swabo-Italian culture. There was a Black Death a few decades ago, which really devastated development in most places. We have been getting up our uh, the development in our domain lands here in our Swabo-Italian culture. I think let's change this now to bring up Urbino. Yeah, and the reason we're doing that, well, several reasons. I mean, development is very important to how much gold you get, important to how much levies you get. But perhaps most importantly, it affects how quickly you get innovations. We're a bit behind here, frankly, um, partly because of the Black Death. So we do want to try to discover as many of these innovations here in the High Medieval era as we can before 1200. When we move to the Late Medieval era, because we really want to get to the Late Medieval era as soon as we can after 1200 and get ready to start researching there. Looks like we only need 2 more, which will obviously these 2 will get probably at least a few more before 1200 hits. So maybe we're in better shape than I thought. Anyway, Grand Tournament. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to do. Oh, let's look at our children. We should always do that. It's always important to make sure your children being well educated. So I'm looking here in particular is whether we can influence our ward's personality, ward's martial drill, have child study language. If all those are grayed out, that's good in a certain sense. That means we've kept up with our children's education. We have an excellent tutor, have a good wet nurse. Wet nurse is not the right religion. She converted to Catholicism. I like to have wet nurse instill virtue. It's good to have virtuous rulers, virtuous people in your court. Let's get her married to a knight. He's matrilineal. He's a courtier. Okay, that should work. See if anyone else wants to be vassalized on reasonable terms. Okay, more people that want to be vassalized. That's all good. These people only want 4 terms, so we can form the Kingdom of Burgundy. Let's go ahead and do that. If we want to keep that for our primary heir, it's going to need to be put a feudal elective title on it. I clicked through a bit too quickly on that child. Let's see. Okay, so this is actually an amazing child. We want to get him married to our betrothed to someone who is beautiful, ideally. There's someone who is pretty, whatever it's called. Yeah, pretty, and that's what we'll have to go with. It's okay. Some of these other people we can't get, we don't have control over them. Some of them are our sons. All of our sons are intelligent, which is good overall. Vassalize more people. They'll pay us more gold. That's probably all of the people who hold territory in the Kingdom of Burgundy. Let's take another look. For this guy, he has quite a large amount of territory here, and I assume that's France. Yep, Akaton is not separate kingdom. I sort of would like to have him as a vassal. Again, don't really want to do it on low. Let's see if we could send him a gift, how expensive that would be. Okay, do it. That should make him take normal. One thing I want to look at, especially with Britannia losing the Scourge Conqueror trait, is taking over France. Same thing for this guy. Let's send him some gold. Hopefully he will accept vassalage on normal. He will. Piers and Nancy are both smaller. Not as concerned about those. We go to a grand wedding. I do want to check here. So we're still quite a ways away from getting more crown authority. If you've seen the prior episodes, we've had a lot of difficulty increasing our crown authority. With our current character, he's a very powerful martial character. He's filled out the overseer / authority tree in martial. And so I feel quite confident that if his vassals rise up, we'll be able to put him down. Just thinking about whether I want to try to participate in this crusade, and potentially we could make the difference. Get our sister. She certainly deserves it. She'd be a very powerful ruler. Guess let's go see what we can do with the crusade. Be good Christians. See if we can get the Crusader trait. So once we're done here, come back and hold a grand tournament. The fact that there's, well, hold on, let's be smart. What is that plague? Is that a grand? Okay, nah. No, forget that. No, we're not going into a plague area, especially an apocalyptic plague area. We will stay at home and have our grand tournament. And again, diseases are very dangerous here. You don't want to send your character into disease areas, particularly not an apocalyptic disease. It's measles, so it's less dangerous to adults. Still, just don't want to do it. I really want to max out the footpath and the hostile trait. Reason for that is if you max it out, increases the size of all your regiments by 2. It means you can significantly increase the power of your men-at-arms, which is very important. We are going to max out the accommodations. I hopefully don't die or get disfigured as my father did in someone else's tournament. We're also going to maximize the prizes because we do want strong artifacts. Hopefully we win. Just have to see. On triumph intent, we do want to participate in everything. And again, really just looking to maximize our score here. So going to the tourney grounds is kind of obvious to maximize your score. Going to the temple, you can get renown. You can get a very useful trait called astronomer that increases your monthly lifestyle experience. We don't have it yet, so I'll probably just bounce between the tourney grounds, and the temple. Should have looked more at that tourney event to try to find something that would increase my score, but I did not. That was a minor mistake. Usually don't sabotage anyone, especially when it causes me stress. I think I'd rather take the over 90% chance here, just to hopefully be more sure. Go with the highest chance there. think this hopefully will work. Okay. See, now their armies are reinforced. We're making 76 net income a month, which is okay given the size of our realm. Hope to make more. I think we'll just go at the bottom. I don't really want to spend gold on this. But hopefully as we improve our crown authority, get stronger, we'll make more gold. Guess let's go for this top option. So another sun, another intelligent sun, which, you know, is good, except for our succession, which I do think we'll be able to sort out. Got a perk that I do want to make use of. Unfortunately lost in the finale of the duel. Just unfortunate. I generally don't disqualify people, I just take my lumps. Indeed, so close. Let's go with this. It's a little bit of stress, but more score gain. So one thing I think we're going to struggle with soon is getting claims. So my plan is we'll fill out the strategist tree. Over Gallant, we'll get the 3 on this right hand side that improve our knights, and then we'll be switching to learning and going down the scholarship tree, and particularly getting sanctioned loopholes. One thing, just thinking about that we could do is go to Divine Right. That allows us, I guess we should be able to enforce all our claims in a single war already, so we should be fine. We'll stay with windmills for the extra building slot. Divine Right also has a very useful ability that you can seize all de jure lands in a war, which is very helpful, but I think we'll probably get it after we are done with windmills. Here we'll lose some stress, not get negative nickname. Here, you do this middle one, just take the certainty of a slight decrease rather than the very high odds of a moderate decrease. Unfortunately, we lost again in the finale. It's too bad. It means we lose out on the probably very good artifacts we otherwise would have gotten, but that's life. So we get a very strong female knight here. We want to marry her to someone who's also a knight who will come to our court. Looks like this guy will do it. Yep, it's just a courtier. If they hold some sort of position like marshal or spymaster, then often seems like even if they get matrimonially married, the woman goes to their court. So you don't want that. You want someone who's a courtier or guest, or who otherwise just doesn't hold a position. Surprised it said my sister is too sickly. Okay, I guess she has smallpox, as does her husband. Still in fine health. Speaking of diseases, looks like disease has spread to our lands, unfortunately. Okay, our position is on control diseases. Our wet nurse terrible because she has smallpox. Okay. Alright, well, not much we can do. Can't enter seclusion because we're participating in an event, right? Yes. Okay. Now, again, we're playing on Doomsday Plague, so unfortunately, Plagues are just part of the game. Here is the astronomer trait talked about before. Permanent increase the character's monthly lifestyle experience, so definitely want that. Got stressed out because a friend died. Don't want to take a negative trait. Certainly don't want to convert religions. Hopefully we'll win the joust. Let's lose some stress here. That really affected our score more than I thought it would. Okay. Now smallpox is ripping through our court. Just have to hope we survive. Let's go with this for the extra horse experience. Well, it does cause some stress. That's not great. I think let's do it anyway. And lost again. Okay, so somewhat disappointing tournament. Holding an extra domain. We will give away. Extra county, or barony I should say. Yeah, I would have liked to have this character go to someone else's grand tournament first and gotten a little bit of experience before holding our own expensive tournament. So, but that's not what happened. This guy is a very strong knight, so let's bring him in. Get him married here. So all that's left is the melee, which is always a coin flip, really. The odds never change that much from 50-50. Especially because of that, I'd rather take the diplomacy experience or even the chance at a point of diplomacy instead of score here. Hopefully we keep the peace, get some diplomacy and prestige. See here, 51% chance, so basically 50-50. Looks like we did not get to keep the peace trait. We did get smallpox. Okay, now hopefully we live. So normally I like this third option for the experience, hostile looter experience, but obviously we have very poor chances of getting it, so we're not going to do that. Not going to get stressed. We'll just take this nickname and a little bit of stress loss. Wife died, and so we're going to be really stressed out. Great. So I don't want to be melancholic. I guess I'll just be apathetic. Yeah, it's not great, but it's better than the other two options. Wait, what? Okay, we won the crusade. Okay. Well, whatever. I mean, the crusade looked pretty grim, frankly. So whatever. And we won the coin flip of the melee, so what do we get? Did we get anything? Oh, a prize bowl. I mean, that's, that's decent. Let's see what we missed out on. Great armor. Very good scepter there. Trinket. All right. I really hope we don't die. Okay, we have a lot of prestige. Let's see if we can fix our succession. What does it look like now? It looks great, except for Burgundy. Guess what we'll do? We will put a feudal elective title on Burgundy. We'll send that to our heir. Now everything goes to our oldest son, and we can change that later if we want, assuming we survive the smallpox. But this is a way to keep your realm together when you're on partition, even Confederate partition. High partition is slap feudal elective titles on your high level titles and just have them all go to one individual. It does cost, the drawback is you do need a good amount of prestige to do that, 1,500, but it's a quite useful way of keeping your realm together. So now we have smallpox. I think there's not a lot we can do here. Just have to wait and hopefully it goes away. Let's equip another pharmaceuticals book. Maybe that helps. Find another wife here, assuming we live. Hopefully we do. Display our good new prize bowl here. And then we'll cross our fingers and hope we don't die. We should know shortly. I guess we could convert to a learning lifestyle now, the medicine focus. I kind of hate not to have sappers in particular. I think let's risk it. I don't want one of my sons recover from smallpox. Another son recovered. One of my friends did not recover. And thankfully I did recover. Okay. So really want to go on a grand tour. Grand tour has great benefits, should also cause us to lose a lot of stress. And we could go to I think let's go to this grand tournament. Let's also take a look at what our hostile experience looks like. Yeah, let's go to this grand tournament. Just to be completely safe, we'll get experienced captains so we don't drown. Yep, okay. Hopefully we'll do better at this grand tournament than our own. Guess we'll take the more stress here. Really, our stress is becoming a concern. Okay. Assuming we got stressed out because a friend died or something. Not exactly sure how he got stressed out. So one of the things about holding a grand tour is you generally lose a whole lot of stress. That's one reason I want to do it. We really need to pick the options here that do not cause us any stress. Dishonor ourselves. And it seems like we won. Let's look if there was some event that popped up. Guess not. I mean, hopefully when we get back, this plague will mostly be resolved, which will make it easier to travel around for our grand tour. Let's go to the tavern, try to reduce our stress. Whatever. Another excellent female knight. Okay, looks like we're 2 for 2 in this other guy's tournament. Doing much better than we did in our own tournament. I should have looked for a wife. That was a mistake. Let's see if we can find anyone who is a genius. No. Okay. Let's see if we could convince any woman who is a genius to come to our court and marry her. Okay. I mean, she's 44, so I think what we might do is we come back, even establish a grand wedding. We have the money with one of these, probably this girl here. But to do the grand wedding, we have to be back home, not traveling, so we'll wait till we are back at our capital to do that. Foot experience. Usually go with the middle option there. It seems to have the best overall percentages. Stress, don't put a negative nickname. Unfortunately, we lost. Don't want stress. Again, generally, I just don't sabotage people. Not going to gamble. Given how poor the top percentages are, we'll go with the bottom option. well here, so presumably lost. Yep. Still, we got some more experience on a couple of events. Hopefully we got some good arms or armor. We got a bow, so got a piece of furniture. I mean, the bow helps. So it's well worth going there. 9% knight effectiveness. Good amount of prowess. The wine ton, domain taxes +1. Every little bit helps. Does look like our plagues have cleared up. So I think let's go on our grand tour. Then after that, we'll start really looking at going back on the offensive. Okay, we aren't going to arrive in time, so no reason to worry about it. Guess we could check coronation again. I don't think. Yeah. Okay, let's go on our grand tour. Other thing we could look at is how close we are to being able to hybridize our culture again. As part of playing on the hardest possible rule set, we have hybridized culture set to slower, meaning instead of being able to hybridize every 50 years, we can only hybridize every 100 years. And so we have to we have to wait until 1198. I think maybe we hybridize with French or Occitan at that point. But I don't think it's something we need to worry about right now, given the time. Like to hit Duke level vassals, especially our powerful vassals. Want to get Mountaineer because the Alps are dangerous. Maybe let's see what else. Okay, Cultural Ambassador. I think let's try to get the prestige. We are using a decent amount of prestige, so we have a good amount. Justice is what we want. Our intent, try to improve. You can see it's 3,000 gold, so that's not it's not too bad. Right, but first, before we do this, which is a bit unfortunate to discard all that, we need to get betrothed. So this girl has hail and intelligence, so 0.9% risk of being inbred is count as no chance of being inbred. We have a few years, so let's hold a grand wedding and get some good benefits, some renown. Let that betrothal go through, and then we'll reestablish our grand tour. Let's see. Okay. Max out the prestige. We should need, given the number of stops, we should maximize our success without needing additional luxuries. Get a Mountaineer, get a Cultural Ambassador, and off we go. And as soon as I de-stress a bit, I want to take another look at our children, our wards in particular. Actually, let's look at some of our younger children now. Again, at this point, anyone who's a potential heir, I'd rather have just be marshal. Uh, I think it really want all of our heirs from here on out to be marshal. You see the power of a martial character when we fought against the Scourge conqueror in Britannia. If we had been, stewardship or learning character, we're just not winning that war, and we're going to be, losing all of Germany, which is what he was attacking us for. And then, in 5 years, maybe he attacks us again, takes more territory. So we really need to be martial characters. They're just so much better at fighting wars than other ones, especially most obviously, if you're an exalted warlord, it's just a huge benefit. So we'll try to make him just. It's not terribly likely, but still, I think a good trade. I know some people don't like it. It gives you some vassal opinion. Gives you stewardship and learning. Obviously, if you're going to be an intrigue character, you don't want to be just, but I usually don't play intrigue characters, so. Conduct a census for gold, because again, we really want as much gold as we can get here. So that's a whole lot of gold, given that, because we're playing on very hard, we're only making a quarter the amount of normal ransoms, so I think those are some of our vassals who've probably been imprisoned for their treachery early on for many years, so they finally escaped our prison. Hopefully they've learned their lesson. We should be able to lose this stress as we continue on our tour. Take the option that loses us a whole lot of stress. Don't want to be robbed by some mayor, so we'll continue on. If the end of this tour, for some reason, we're not fully distressed, probably hold a feast. Also, what I want to do is let's look at our domain. Improve where we can here. Generally speaking, looking for the lowest level buildings, since you get the most bang for your buck from improving those. Can we make that anything better? Usually not a huge fan of cattle pastures. Also, let's look at our military. So you can see here, we are now maxed out in hostile looter foot experience, so 2 number of knights, but also more importantly, I think, size of men-at-arms regiments +2. So we can increase all these +2. We also built military academies in, I think it's Modena here. Yep. So that's another 1 to all of the size of all our military regiments. So we're going to max them out. Again, we really want the most powerful men-at-arms we can have. Our men-at-arms currently are a bit lopsided toward pikemen. That was because when we were fighting the Scourge conqueror of Britannia, he had a whole bunch of horses, so we wanted to fully counter them. It's one of the things, playing on the hardest possible rule set, you really need to think about men-at-arms counters, especially when you're fighting against the Scourge conqueror. So we'll have to take a look at whether this is the best army moving forward. We may want to get rid of at least 1 regiment of those pikemen. But for now, we have so many pikemen that they may be difficult to counter. The vulnerability of pikemen is that they are countered by heavy infantry, and most rulers use a lot of heavy infantry. But because we have so many pikemen, I think it's probably difficult for them to actually get countered. I think, let's take the stress hit. I think it's worth the cultural acceptance gain. Make our vassals over there less likely to revolt against us. I think Just nod and smile here. Stress. Actually, a pretty good mace. Not sure if it's better than our bow, but it's close. Let's take a look here, actually. They're very close. Don't think this character is ever going to get coronated. It's just not looking good, frankly. Guess we'll take this. Want her to give us more gold. Generally don't bother with these flasks and their random effects. Sappers, which is extremely strong. Siege much faster now. Probably should be able to siege most places in less than a month, since we're also an exalted warlord and have engineered for destruction. Don't think we yet want to adopt a centralized bureaucracy. Bit concerned about getting wounded, but I guess we'll do that. Okay. Lose stress. Let's look at our children again. Military engineer is good. Just being able to siege down faster is helpful. We talked before about, in terms of army composition, I usually only have one regiment of siege equipment, and that's simply because at this level of difficulty, you need to have a real army, especially to take on scourge conquerors. And so you can't just have, half or 2/3 of your army be siege equipment. You'll get destroyed in the field by scourge conquerors. Also, even as good as I am at sieging now, I'm very unlikely to be able to out-siege a scourge conqueror. They get huge benefits to siege time, and so again, in a normal game, you can probably just out-siege the AI. But here, again, if you're fighting a scourge conqueror, it's not going to work. You need a real army to go fight and beat their army, and once you've done that, then you can start your sieges. I think we'll just skip trying to get a hook on him. Did get a lot of gold from him, which is good. Check on our buildings here. See, already at max taxation tour success, so that's with several stops left to go. Guess we'll take the cultural acceptance, even though it has some penalties. Don't want to become superstitious and have extra stress. Items useless. Just say no to those unless we really need to get their penning of us up for some reason. Happy to have a dog. Dog gives you some benefits, like including increased health, and you want our character to live for quite a bit longer. For this, I think we're just going to ignore her. Don't really want to pay the 450. The benefits just aren't worth it. If I had more gold, probably leave it alone. Here, I usually destroy the statue to avoid the development growth penalty. Want all of our realm to have as high development as possible, so we get more taxes, and also more levies, but really more taxes. Get this ubiquitous nickname, replacing our better nickname. Usually I just pick this third option because don't want to spend gold. City building doesn't really help. Maybe if you're, well, if you're administrative, you wouldn't be going on a grand tour. So yeah, maybe there's some other way you hold cities. So really just the third one gives some benefit to one of our courtiers. Doesn't really matter much. Here, I think we do the top one. He has a plus 100 opinion of us. I don't think he's going to become our rival or anything if we do this, but it's sort of an overall negative event. Increase the cultural acceptance there. Head back. Got Magnificent Liege, Renown. Also able to, well, thought I was able to scroll up and down, but I guess not. Let's pin our betrothed, especially so we know when she's about to turn 16 and time to hold our grand wedding. Soon, yeah. Okay, so he's still not that interested in letting us hold a coronation. Let's take a look at what we can do here in terms of getting some more land. We still no. So we've fallen quite far behind in the election for the become Holy Roman Emperor. Likely means they are a target for us, frankly. Let's see if we can find someone with good claims. Okay, it's too good of a claim. Alright, I think maybe we just seize duchy here that belongs to Germany, and so it's part of our de jure lands. I think here is good. Same time, let's see about making Bavaria part of our de jure lands by fabricating some claims on the territories in Salzburg. And for our truce ends with the Holy Roman Empire from this war, then we can go on to Salzburg. I think that should give us enough to get the Kingdom of Bavaria, which then we'd be able to use the Seize de Jure territory, CB, to get more of the territory within Bavaria. Improving our domain buildings here, counties. See the HRE armies here. Guess we could have tried just attacking the the vassal here, the Duke. Maybe the HRE still has so many counties that they are on conditional join, but didn't do it, and we should be able to defeat the HRE's armies regardless. Does create an interesting question. I wonder if we can attack, assuming the HRE has at least 160 counties, or because of a civil war or other reasons is on conditional join. I wonder, even if we have a truce with the HRE Emperor, if we can attack the vassals within the realm. I might try that just to see. I guess they don't want to fight, but I do want to fight. Eldest son here is 15. We'll have 3 pretty good personality traits, so your military engineer for the siege speed is very useful. So if we have any chance of giving our main heir another personality trait. 5th of November. Okay, try to remember that. So our second son, and none of these are great. Humble, it doesn't really have any benefits. I think we'll make him honest. It does have courtly vassal opinion. Obviously, it's a overall negative to his stats, but it is a virtue. It should make people less likely to revolt against him if he ends up being our heir. So I think that's the option there. I've talked about it. You can see we are sieging very quickly. It's a combination of perks and being an exalted warlord. May have to fight another war after this one. No, looks like some people may have been fighting over this duchy, but in any event, we have it. What I'm curious about is yes, so if we wanted to, I think we very well may do want to, is to keep taking duchies that are part of Germany here. We can do that because the HRE is on conditional join. Okay, let's see if there's anything else we really want to do here. Let's get our stress down a bit and then develop our capital. These are really good claims. There's no one who wants to be vassalized by us. We are now first in line for the HRE again. It's a bit odd. We were third just a minute ago. I mean, we close to being the same age as HRE Emperor. I assume murdering him would be very difficult. Does seem to be the case. We're playing on very hard, so there's a significant penalty to all hostile schemes that the player tries to carry out. So, not surprising that murdering him would be very difficult. Don't know if there's much else. I assume we can't attack these duchies down here to take them. No. Okay. I mean, I think let's just, keep conquering these, these de jure dukedoms. I guess before we do that, let's take another look at what other wars we can declare, which is not that many. We've looked at fighting Britannia. Don't really have good claims. I'm sure the Pope, don't really want to attack him. He'll just hate us even more. Oh, so that's an interesting one. Let's see if we have any good claims. So we got that. Oh, he's no longer a scourge conqueror. So Hispania used to be ruled by a scourge conqueror, but no longer. So let's see if there are any interesting claims. So that's obviously not going to help us. It would just mean that, this guy becomes emperor of Hispania, which will be independent of us. But the Kingdom of Bulgaria is interesting. Don't know that we really want sort of that land kind of far away from us. This does make me think that maybe we should really focus on, even though we're close to getting windmills, let's sort of focus on divine right. Well, 3 years, okay. We'll get windmills and immediately turn divine right. Guy a scourge conqueror? Nope. He just has a whole lot of, well, he has a whole lot of mercenaries. That's what he has. So we don't really have great claims, which I was talking about earlier, which is why I want to get up to sanction loopholes and take advantage of that. Could go on a pilgrimage in preparation for using sanction loopholes, which will want more piety, as much piety as we can get. But I think let's do some conquering now. Realm priest, let's see if he's any good. He's okay. Keep improving our buildings here. Again, one thing playing on this hardest possible rule set, you really want to pay attention to your buildings. Keep upgrading them. The basic point or strategy here is you want to have your buildings produce enough gold, your domain be powerful enough that you can support a large army that can take on the AI, which is going to, even the regular AI is going to be much stronger than it usually is, and in particular you want to be able to take on scourge conquerors. And to do that, you really need the most powerful army you can get. Almost forgot. Well, I did forget, frankly, to one last chance at influencing our eldest son's personality traits. Probably not going to work, but might as well try it. Do we have another plague? Not near our kingdom, really. Our capital, I should say. Okay. Alright, no, didn't do it. Not surprising. It'll just bite our lip and stay focused. I think let's go on another pilgrimage here. Also curious how close we are to getting Bavaria. Just need one territory, actually, one county. Let's go on our pilgrimage, and then we'll see about attacking either Duchy of Augsburg or somewhere else. There's a part of me that wants to take the long pilgrimage to Jerusalem and hit all these points of interest. You get a lot of experience that way. I think for now, let's just take a relatively short one, go up to Cologne. Looks like we have hit most of the points of interest on this way already. Maybe we'll take a bit of a detour here. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. We will max it out. Do want lots of piety. Okay, he only ended up being a skilled tactician. That's not great. Let's see if there are any geniuses for him to marry. If not, we'll go with an intelligent woman. Or girl, as the case may be. She looks good. I think our second son will marry to our niece. We'll educate this son, have him become our ward, because he is rowdy and so martially minded. Hopefully that will increase his chances of becoming a brilliant strategist, 4-star martial education. Let's check our tutor and wet nurse. Okay. I think let's get a royal architect who will improve development in our capital. Also get a court chronicler, gives a little bit of renown. And we could probably, at this point, I think we have the gold. We can just fill out these positions. Let's also look at our, should be able to significantly improve our amenities here. I think that looks good. Currently in administrative court. We could go to intrigue court, but I don't really want to do that, so stay as administrative. If we had the option to change to a warlike court, that would have been quite interesting. And we want to maximize our piety and the piousness of our pilgrimage here. Okay, lost some gold, unfortunately. I guess let's do that. Get some more taxes. That's unfortunate. Probably will hold a feast when we get back home. That guy's not worth hiring. Gold he wants at least. Guess we can do a rough terrain expert. Should be able to put out this fire without much problem. This person join us. One thing we haven't been doing, if we felt like it, is to hold a grand right. Distress. Don't really want to spend a month sitting there for no reason. But I guess we'll take the 3 months sitting around here. Are starting to get a bit low on gold from all of our spending. But I think we've been using it on important stuff in terms of building up our domain and improving our character. Over 40, still in good health, so it's probably going to be with us quite a while. Check our children again. It's probably gonna... Yeah, it's debatable whether I should have done it at this particular point. Yes, we'll try to become a wise man. Gets us more learning experience. By holding mystical communion, so that's good. Again, we'll soon be changing to a learning tree. Trying to get down there as quickly as possible to sanction loopholes. Did maximize our piousness there. Soon we'll be maxing out at least some of these buildings. Again, a lot more piety. So when we get back home, we'll probably be about ready to keep being a witch. So we will pass on that and instead take a very nice stress loss there. I was about to say is when we get back to our capital, our betrothed may have come of age, and so probably want to see if we can hold our grand wedding. For this, exactly what you're supposed to do with this first option here. If you're supposed to make them a knight or whatever, but unclear. So I usually just go with the second option. I just become a courtier. Okay, so that's my son's betrothed that died. Guess this woman. Not ideal. We are playing on restricted diplomatic range, which means we often have many fewer options for spouses than if we were playing on normal. Again, that's part of playing on the hardest possible rule set. So just another disadvantage we need to overcome. Obviously, you don't want to be malnourished. We can hold our grand wedding here as soon as we get back to the capital. A little bit of plague to the north of us, but it doesn't look like it's in our capital itself. Who are you? Okay. Wait, what? Why is she our prisoner? Okay. I think we do this top one. He gets a better education. You know, our tutor works even harder. I think that's the choice, even at the chance of a rivalry. I assume we cannot hold our grand wedding because our wife, currently has consumption. Yep. Okay, great. So that's unfortunate, especially because I have no idea how long consumption will last. I think let's just hold a regular feast so I can at least hopefully fully de-stress here. Also improve the opinion of our vassals. Also has consumption. You know, no point in getting his permission for an anointment now if he has consumption, because you know, if he dies, we would just have to get it. Another anointment approval from his successor, which will just cost more gold and piety. So hopefully our son doesn't die of consumption. Hate to lose that much gold. Okay. So, obviously the important part is not the Danube flooding, but instead that we have just inherited the HRE. We will have cast it for our current heir, so you can see what our realm now looks like. Definitely are going to want to get divine right as soon as possible so we can start reclaiming big chunks of land. While we're zoomed out, let's take a look at what else is going on. So this is the former Scourge Conqueror of Britannia. We still see still has quite a large realm. So Guinea down here, Scourge Conqueror, not surprising, have most of Western Central Africa. Hispania, having a Scourge Conqueror, not anymore. Abyssinia, unsurprisingly. Female Scourge Conqueror. Coptic Nubians really have this huge realm from Eastern Africa, Arabia, Central Asia, Persia. Siberia has a scourge conqueror. Doesn't look like there are any scourge conquerors to our immediate east. Song, unsurprisingly, quite strong. Yeah, so interesting stuff. So I think we will finish up our feast, which, presumably is becoming a feast celebrating our succession to the throne of the HRE. Once we do that, we'll call it an episode. I think we've made some good advances here. Obviously, getting the HRE is the most important one. Does mean we can stop our patriarch from manufacturing claims on the HRE. Don't need that anymore. And with that, starting next episode, we'll see what we can do as the Emperor of the HRE. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look and see what additional artifacts. So vengeful and deceitful are both sins. We will give him calm. Okay, so we have 2 Reichs crowns. Bit unusual, needless to say. But hopefully we'll have one of them. We still don't have any armor. Let's look at if we can upgrade our artifacts here. I had thought that the HRE would have better stuff, actually. Let's go to artifacts, see if there's any pedestal items that would be better. Not really. So I guess the HRE, the original HRE usually starts with really impressive artifacts, but not so much for this one. In any event, we'll look all at next episode at what we can do with our newfound power. Try to make sure our succession is strong. All goes to one heir, and we'll go from there. Unsurprisingly, probably going to start looking at driving toward forming the Roman Empire, and generally going toward our win condition, which is to be indisputably the most powerful ruler in the world. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I hope you join me for future episodes. Thanks. Bye.